Sheriff Mike Thompson, Corey Reynolds, has had an especially prominent character trait since Resident Alien began back in 2021, but it took until the Season 4 premiere for him to openly admit to it. While it's great that Mike has finally voiced one of his biggest restrictions, he's only managed to do so at an incredibly awkward point in the story. Mike's role in the Resident Alien cast has long been the same, but there's no avoiding the fact that it's about to change quite a bit. As one of the biggest authority figures in the town of Patience, Colorado in Resident Alien, Mike has a responsibility to keep the townsfolk safe. He has always taken this role very seriously. However, he has also often ignored or misinterpreted key pieces of evidence because of certain beliefs that he can't or won't set aside. At the end of Resident Alien Season 3, Mike encountered something that was set to change his life forever, but the Season 4 premiere, Prisoners, reveals he's still as stubborn as always when it comes to his values. Mike's black and white speech in Resident Alien Season 4's premiere has been a long time coming. The Mantid's therapy session with Mike is surprisingly effective. Mike came across a member of Resident Alien's Grey Aliens in Season 3, Episode 8, Homecoming. While he tried to bag up the evidence and take the lifeform to Deputy Liv Baker, Elizabeth Bowen, it vanished before Mike reached his destination. If Grey hadn't disappeared, it could have been enough to finally convince Mike that aliens exist, but with the way things went, he begins Prisoners, convinced he was hallucinating. While in a therapy session with Alan Tudyk's character, who is the Mantid disguised as Harry, Mike reaffirms what everyone already knows: Mike has always been very headstrong and only ever willing to make binary judgments. Things are either good or bad, hot or cold, and a whole lot of other absolutes. So, it's no surprise that Patience's sheriff refuses to believe that aliens exist, especially when the only piece of evidence he had to the contrary ended up vanishing. He's the kind of man who accepts only what he sees with his own two eyes, and when something he thought he had seen suddenly wasn't there anymore, he doubled down on a belief he had already strongly aligned himself with. That said, Mike had been showing immense signs of growth before his encounter with the Grey in Homecoming. His brashness had remained intact, but he had also started to soften and to become more understanding when it came to the plight of his deputy, Liv. Thankfully, it's Liv herself who manages to pull Mike back from the brink in Prisoners, convincing him to end his self-imposed medical leave and accept what it is he saw in Homecoming. He does the former, but hasn't quite achieved the latter. Mike's admission confirms a transformative arc for him in Resident Alien Season 4. Patience's sheriff can't hold on to his black and white belief system for much longer. Corey Reynolds looking down as Mike in Resident Alien with Liv out of focus in the background. Now that Mike has openly admitted to his black and white way of thinking, Resident Alien can start to slowly dismantle his belief system. Although he ends Prisoners back in his role as Patience's sheriff, I don't expect him to immediately get on board with Liv's claims of alien life. Other than the Grey he encountered, which he is still in doubt about, Mike has never had a genuine run-in with extraterrestrials. Of course, he has interacted with Harry countless times, but he doesn't know Tudyk's character is an alien. Plus, Mike making his black and white speech to the Mantid is pretty ironic in itself. So, with the rest of the town all going through their own alien-based storyline in Season 4, it only makes sense that Mike will also be swept up in the action. When this inevitably happens, it will be interesting to see how Corey Reynolds' Resident Alien character handles being proven so quantifiably wrong, or whether he'll still find some way to deny the truth.